Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and today we've got a redux of the RAV4 Prime and its efficiency and highway numbers. For the first part of the test, we're going to head out and do the new plug-in hybrid loop that we have, where we do about 35 mile per hour average city driving, mixture of 25, 35, 45, and 55 mile an hour driving. We continue to do that to drain out the electric powertrain, the battery, and kind of see what sort of numbers you can expect in the real world in that way. And then we're going to go out on the highway and actually see what sort of fuel economy numbers you can expect with the RAV4 running on only gasoline. So we're not going to use the battery on the highway, and that's because if you were taking a very long road trip, say you're going cross country or something, realistically you wouldn't have any battery to use. So you'd want to know just kind of what sort of numbers you'd get on gas alone. We're doing this one a little bit out of order. We've actually already tested the highway portion, so that'll be kind of part way in, but then we still need to test the electric portion. We've got that all charged up. Oh, everybody say hi to Chester. Hi, Chester. We've got it all charged up. We're gonna head out and kind of race the sun here. It's in the evening, trying to get everything done here, and we still have to do the escape that we have this week as well. Hey, kitty. Chester's such a good boy. He likes being outside because he matches the leaves. Anyway, let's pop the charger out and get rolling. Now, a few things to note for the test. It's about 40 degrees Fahrenheit out today. Our tire pressures have been set to 33 PSI cold. We're not preconditioning the cabin. I'm just gonna head right out, and we are gonna have the climate control set at 68 degrees Fahrenheit with 1 level of seat heat. That's how we do electric vehicles in the cold. Quick shout out to Grizzly. You can see how long this charge cable is, going all the way into our garage. We typically use it for charging up the Tesla. You can see it's kind of situated in here. It's either a 20 or 24 foot cable. We've had the charger for so long, I don't exactly remember the details. I'm pretty sure it's 24 feet. It plugs all the way in here. You can see, there it is, charging up. Let's get it unplugged and get on the road. Okay, we've got our GPS reset. Let's turn the car on and reset our trip computer. 42 miles of electric driving, estimated by the car. So let's start it up. Put it into eco mode. There's also normal and sport. Climate control at 68, auto. Eco on the climate, one thing of seat heat. Let's roll. The RAV4 Prime is perfectly pleasant to drive. It feels just like a normal EV when it's on electric vehicle mode, unlike some of the other plug-in hybrids you drive that feel a bit lethargic, and you can tell they're kind of in a temporary sort of deal when you're driving in electric only. This feels like just your normal car. Like, it's actually exciting and peppy to drive in electric mode. So if you did want a car that you could truly drive on almost all electric for most of your driving and just save the gasoline for longer trips, RAV4 Prime is a pretty darn good option. My only complaint is there's not really a one pedal mode. It won't regen strong enough. You kind of got to use the brake pedal and drive it like a normal car, but a pretty small complaint. All right, so we're going to continue on this loop. We will have a time lapse going if you want to kind of watch and see what the loop consists of, but it'll be some of this 50 or 35 mile per hour driving. There'll be, like I said, some faster speed, some slower speed, probably going to be a bit of traffic considering it's about rush hour. Sit back, relax, and enjoy, and we'll catch up with you at the end. 1 mile left on the range portion of the RAV4 Prime's efficiency test, if you will. We have gotten smack dab exactly what the car predicted so far. It said 42 miles at the beginning, and it's tracked that way all the way down. Still has to make it another 1.7 miles technically to make 42, but I suppose with rounding it only has to do 1.2 miles. So we'll see what happens. I've averaged 34 miles per hour. Been fairly smooth. This thing is pleasant to drive, it really is. A little bit heavy. Steering's a little heavy and the car feels large for what it is, but overall pretty smooth. And I'm really getting sick of people like this just driving awfully. 5 miles per hour below the speed limit, swerving back and forth. Come on, it's only 6 o'clock. What are you doing? We're on 0 miles now, so any moment the engine's going to kick on. We'll have our final result. It should be on this acceleration pole right here that we get motor, but we have made it 41.5 miles, so that is technically 42. And there you have it, right there. 41.6 miles, along with some heat, 40 degrees Fahrenheit. That's how far you can go with the RAV4 on electric only in mixed driving, averaging at this point 33 miles per hour. That's pretty cool that the vehicle just about managed to equal its EPA range estimate, but it didn't do quite as well at meeting EPA on the highway. So let's see what those results were. At the gas pump here, we are going to fill this thing up and head out and keep it in hybrid vehicle mode so that we can see what sort of fuel economy we actually get on the highway without factoring in the battery. 4.860 gallons going in for our first fill. All right, before we get started, reset GPS and reset the car's trip computer. We're ready to begin. Start by putting it in hybrid vehicle mode and eco. There's also normal and sport. Turn off our heated seats, set the climate control to 73 auto. Turn off the steering wheel as well. We're going to take it nice and easy over to the highway, about half a mile away, pick up the test from there. The goal of this test isn't to hypermile. We're not trying to get the best possible fuel economy number, but rather a realistic number for the RAV4 Prime. In order to do that, we're going to get up to highway speed here at a reasonable pace and set our cruise control at a GPS indicated 72 miles per hour. That should allow us to average 70 miles per hour over the whole test. No shortage of power from this car. Speed. A little bit of wind today, but since we're going out and back in opposite directions, that should negate by the end of the trip. Looks like this car's speedometer is reading about 2 miles per hour high, so we're going to set the cruise at 74, which looks like it's giving us 72 to 73 on the GPS. That should probably be a good figure. Yep. It is interesting to me that Toyota decided to keep these roof rails on there. I can't imagine that's doing any favors for fuel economy, and it also makes for a loud whooshing noise from the wind, but that's not my call. Just keep in mind that your fuel economy might be a little bit better if you're not running with those roof rails. Other than that, this thing is pretty comfortable. Again, I could do with less wind noise, but I still think a lot of that's due to those roof rails. We're going to continue on with the rest of the test and catch up with you at the end, and then Chris Brower will actually be the one wrapping things up for you, and I'll be wrapping up in the Escape. So in the meantime, enjoy this time lapse of the entire trip.
everyone. Well, we're getting ready to wrap up the fuel economy test on this RAV4 Prime. To get off the highway here, go ahead and disable our cruise control. Just a second. Charlie and I swapped halfway through. That's why I'm now in the RAV4. He's now in the Escape plug-in hybrid. Both cars are super smooth, super comfortable on the highway. You can definitely feel the added weight in this RAV4, being that it is an all-wheel drive vehicle. It's got that big heavy battery. But otherwise, I mean, super comfortable ride, super quiet. The actual cruise control itself, the steering assist, everything is great. Of course, we've been running these cars in eco mode, which on the RAV4 lights up your little dial green, which is a fun fact. Pulling in now to the gas station, we're going to make sure to fill these cars up with the 3-click technique, as well as making sure that we're at the same gas pump that we filled these cars up at, to make sure everything is nice and consistent. Looks like we've gone through just about a quarter tank on our around about 100-mile journey here today. All right, well, when all said and done with our 3-click method, this RAV4 took 3.51 gallons. Let's go ahead and do our calculation here. 108.5 divided by 3.51 is 30.91, so about 31 miles per gallon. I will say, though, if we go ahead and start this thing up, hopefully it'll still be on our same trip. Yeah, so since we refueled it, it reset some of the things in there. But the car was saying that it was averaging about 33.9, 34 miles per gallon in the car's sort of brain. So I guess, you know, we'll kind of say that it's somewhere in the middle. The actual results of our test, 30.9, the car thinks 34. So it's probably somewhere in the middle, around the 32 range. 30.9, this is a 14.5 gallon tank. So we've got about 448 miles of cruising distance. If you go with what the car said, 34 times the 14.5, 493. So right up in the sort of 450, 475 mile driving range. That's pretty freaking cool. Plus, you've got the plug-in aspect of this car that we weren't using today, but if you figure that in, an extra 30 miles, I mean, you could probably stretch 500 miles of range in this RAV4, so that's pretty cool.
So I don't know what it is with Toyota products that so often give us weird fill results, but somewhere in there, 33-ish miles per gallon is about what you can expect on the highway. I do think these roof rails take off at least a mile per gallon, so keep that in mind. But hey, the RAV4 is still a pretty efficient vehicle for what you're getting and its capabilities, and it's just so nice and smooth to drive on all-electric mode for running around the city like this. So thank you all so much for watching. Glad we got another chance to test the RAV4 Prime. If you do want to see more on the car, check the link in the description. Check the links in the description, and we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.